Now, with coverage you can count on. Proud to be serving West Texas, Abilene, and the Big Country. You're watching KTAB News at 5.
Good afternoon. Thank you for choosing KTAB News at 5. I'm Catherine Lane. Angela is away. An Abilene judge has ordered the Abilene Reporter News to reveal the names of people who posted comments online. KTAB's Victor Sotelo has more from downtown Abilene. Victor? Thank you, Victor. We'll have much more on this on KTAB News at 6. Goodbye Ice House. Abilene no longer has an outdoor skating rink. After 3 years of providing a unique outdoor skating rink in West Texas, Habitat for Humanity and the Dias We Care team says the project is just too expensive. Although the number of ice skaters has increased over the year to almost 7,000 customers this past season, the funds just didn't add up. One of the main reasons why there will no longer be the ice skating house is because sponsorship decreased from $50,000 to $20,000. An Abilene woman who once tried to smuggle marijuana into an Abilene on an airplane was sentenced today for violating her probation 15 times. Stephanie Robles was on probation for possession of marijuana. She was caught several years ago at the Abilene airport with a plane load of the drug. During court proceedings today, a judge in the 350th District Court sentenced her to 6 years in prison. She once led police on a high-speed chase. An unusual night at the Primetime Family Entertainment Center when a 16-year-old employee was assaulted. Police were called to Primetime at 6 o'clock yesterday evening. A 16-year-old employee was assaulted by one of the high school rodeo participants in town. According to witnesses, the suspect drove away in a tan pickup truck with a trailer attached to it. Police headed to the rodeo fairgrounds to find the suspect, but had no luck. You might want to think twice before sharing a bed with your baby. Infant deaths are up in Abilene, and doctors say it's linked to co-sleeping. KTAB's Megan Dobbs has more.
Hendrick Medical Center reports a significant increase in infant deaths recently. Officials say there are usually just a few infant deaths in an entire year, and they report 5 in Abilene in the past few weeks alone. Those deaths could be linked to what's known as co-sleeping. This is when the newborn or infant sleeps with the parents, whether it be in a bed at night or on a couch or recliner for a daytime nap.
When you come to think about an infant only able to breathe through his or her nose, not a mouth breather unless you cry, asleep at night, and some caregiver rolls over on the baby. You're not going to feel that if you're the adult rolling over.
Doctors say there could be other factors contributing to these tragedies. They say the habit of co-sleeping is a growing problem in Abilene. I'll have more on this story tonight at 6 and let you know how to make sure your baby is safe during sleep. From the KTAB studio, Megan Dobbs, back to you.
All right, thank you, Megan. We will have more on that story at 6, like Megan said. Frontier Texas's camps are catering to special needs children. Camps at the museum in the past have had great experiences working with autistic children and wanted to offer a unique camp experience again. Both children and teachers attended camp to better learn how to work with special needs kids. A film company liked the idea so much they're actually making a documentary out of it. The documentary will serve as an educational video for other teachers working with special needs children. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Dan Edwards for a look at our forecast. Dan, it felt like triple-digit temperatures today. Has it gotten that hot?
It feels like it when you get up, start talking about the heat index, but all in all, we have not hit 100 degrees across the area. And I don't think we will here for the next several days, even though the feels like temperature will be around 98 to 100. We're also watching some thunderstorms up across the Texas Panhandle, so if you're heading up 84 towards Lubbock and heading up towards the Amarillo area, there's some severe thunderstorms up in that area. All of the Big Country today, folks, we're going to stay quiet and overnight tonight. No watches or warnings for us here, but again, the severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for the Texas Panhandle. We have a little more humidity around today, so we are not seeing those 98, 99 degree temperatures. Even out in Midland and Lubbock, the dry line has actually moved west of them, so they're not up above 100 degrees, even though when you factor in the humidity, it does feel a little bit warmer out there. It feels like 100 in Mineral Wells, 101 in Dallas, so the richest moisture well east of us. And we're not too bad for this time of the year. Typically, we should be around 92 degrees or so. So this evening, we'll have those readings fall back into the upper 80s by around 9 o'clock. So still warm this evening. And across Texas, if you're traveling right now or later on tonight, expect temperatures falling into the upper 80s as well, with highs back into the mid to upper 90s tomorrow afternoon. All right, how about the rest of the work week and the weekend forecast? We'll let you know coming up in full weather in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Dan. Let's try and go back to KTAB's Victor Sotelo downtown with the story about the Abilene Reporter News. Victor?
Well, Catherine, as we were saying a while ago, according to court records, the order came after people posted comment on the Abilene Reporter News about the murder of a 43-year-old homeless man in 2007. People posted comments under pseudonyms after police arrested 15-year-old Michael Martinez for the murder. Defense lawyers requested the real names to be sure none of those people who posted comments about that arrest were on the jury pool. The Abilene Reporter News had till today to comply with that order. We have now learned that the Abilene Reporter News has hired an attorney. That attorney, Ken Leggett, has filed a motion with the court this morning basically saying that there are First Amendment issues being dealt with here, and a hearing has been set for this Friday at 8:30 in the morning to deal with this issue. Meanwhile, the murder trial is set to go to the courts this Monday. Reporting from downtown Abilene, I'm Victor Sotelo. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Victor. Again, we will have much more on this story on KTAB News at 6. Another dog attack is reported near Tyler. This after 2 pit bulls are put down for killing a 10-year-old boy in Leverett's Chapel. These attacks have law enforcement urging pet owners to control their animals. Authorities are still trying to find out what happened in these latest attacks, and so far no one's been charged. Wilton Johnson explains the serious consequences pet owners are facing if their animals hurt or kill someone.
I'm not a dog person.
Especially not now after Sarah Raspberry's daughter was mauled Friday night by this neighbor's pit bull.
She came up to my daughter and told my daughter to pet her dog. My daughter didn't move, she didn't budge, and the dog broke loose of the dog's chain and attacked my daughter.
Raspberry's daughter survived the attack but was seriously hurt.
I mean, the collar was fine and the leash itself was fine, but the snap on it was not strong enough.
In Rusk County, there are no leash laws, but to be legal, if you have a big dog, you need a tall fence.
Inside city limits of Henderson, they must be kept behind a fence or in a kennel.
If outside that, you must have a leash. If you have a strong dog, you need a strong leash.
Seizure warrant for the dog.
Judge Bob Richardson gave the dog that attacked Raspberry's daughter to Henderson Animal Control this afternoon. Right about the same time, 2 euthanized dogs that killed 10-year-old Justin Clinton were taken to Kilgore for rabies testing. Richardson reminds pet owners they are responsible for the actions of their pets.
And it is a third-degree felony if the person is proved to be negligent in keeping the dog up.
He says that carries a possible prison sentence of 2 to 10 years. In Clinton's death, it's a second-degree felony punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Sheriff Danny Pirtle says it's still not known if Clinton got to the pit bulls or if they got to him. Regardless, Raspberry believes all pit bull owners should answer for their dangerous weapons.
I think that because of that, having that animal and that animal being a vicious dog, I think that they just need to go to jail.
A hearing is set for Tuesday to determine whether the pit bull that attacked Raspberry's daughter will be put to sleep or not. Coming up after the break, find out why a Texas mother is blaming their insurance company for her daughter's death. That and more coming up. You're watching KTAB News at 5.
You're watching KTAB News at 5 with Angela Taylor and Chief Meteorologist Dan Edwards. Now from KTAB, Chief Meteorologist Dan Edwards and your Power Doppler forecast.
Well, Power Doppler radar, I have us zoomed up into the Texas Panhandle now, just because there's not much going on around here in Abilene, and we have severe thunderstorm warnings and watches there from around the Amarillo area up towards the Oklahoma Panhandle. So I just want to let you know if you're traveling that direction. We'll put the radar imagery on there for you, Kaylee, if you could for me, and we'll get that level 2 on there, and you can see these severe thunderstorms are in, again, well off to the northwest of us. That's a view of our area. Again, nothing going on, and I've actually made a new map here to show you where these storms are, and again, moving from south to north. Not worried about them affecting us for the next several days, it looks like. The big weather story, though, are going to be the temperatures. 92 right now in Sweetwater. It's 93 in Snyder, 96 degrees over in Lubbock, and you get back into our area, we come into Abilene, and again, our temperature at 93 degrees, believe it or not. Brownwood also 93 as well. Let's come on into the airport here. I'll show you what's happening here at Abilene Regional. In 93, dew point of 61, humidity at 35%, and winds are gusting up close to 24 miles per hour from the south. Factor in the humidity into the 30 percentile range. Our heat index values, not a big deal today until you get closer to the Metroplex, feeling like 101 in Dallas. So this evening, not going to be cooling off much. Temperatures still in the 80s right around 9 o'clock. All right, across Texas, again, the only area we're watching is up across the Panhandle where it's cooler in Amarillo. Thunderstorm at 70. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Everybody else basking in the 90s, and it's going to be the same, folks, as that ridge of high pressure stretches out of eastern New Mexico, comes up across the Texas Panhandle, and then works its way across the southeastern United States, and that's going to be the area that's going to stay the warmest for the next several days. No rain, unfortunately. 73 overnight tonight, 95 tomorrow. It's going to feel like it's in the upper 90s to near 100 in some areas. Just make sure you take those frequent breaks and wear the sunscreen as well. Brownwood tonight, 73, a quiet night. Sunny and hot tomorrow. Drink plenty of water, of course, especially those of you that work outdoors, landscapers, roofers. Be careful out there. No changes, Catherine, through the end of the work week and into the weekend as it looks now. We will watch a front to our north on Friday. We'll talk about that a little bit more coming up at 6. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Dan. Larry Wills is here with the nickel, and it looks like we're talking about pop-up books again.
Pop-up books again.
My favorite.
I talked a little bit about the opening of our exhibit last time, and it's going full force now. This is the Wizards of Pop exhibit at the nickel. Michael Reinhardt and Robert Zabuda, the kings of pop-up books. And we're showing pop-ups like these at the nickel right now, and what's exciting about this exhibit, for the first time in the United States, we are showing the giant pop-ups based upon Alice in Wonderland and the Wizard of Oz book. And our giant pop-ups, you see the size of this book, are 4 times this size. Wow. And they open automatically, and you get to see the big openings of the pop-up books. These were created by a Japanese company for an exhibit over there, and this is the first time they've been seen in this nation, and probably the only time that all 12, we have 12 of these giant pop-ups, will be seen together in this country. So Abilenians have an opportunity to see something that no one's ever seen before. So
how have some of the event goers reacted? I'm sure the kids are just mesmerized.
The kids are mesmerized by them. But remember, this is not just for kids, it's for adults, especially these pop-ups. When you see pop-ups like that of Alice and her cards and everything, that's everything. Everyone loves these pop-ups. And by the way, this particular opening with the cards, we have in life-size. It's not just enlarged, it's a life-size version of this pop-up. So it's even more amazing than the large pop-ups. So we're having a great exhibit, some good attendance. We had a great article in the Fort Worth paper just yesterday, and we already had people from Fort Worth coming over here this morning to see the exhibit. So Abilenians need to come see it as well.
Okay, great.
And the nickel hours are 10 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. As always, admission is free, so everyone come see the Wizards of Pop. You can't miss it. Bring all your friends and relatives who come to visit you this summer.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being with us, Larry. After the break, learn some tricks for taming high blood pressure, and if you're interested in losing weight, find out which meal's the best to eat and still shed pounds. It's all ahead at 5.
This portion of the news is sponsored by HEB. With coverage you can count on, KTAB News at 5 continues.
A young woman from Orange County, Texas has died, and her family believes it could have been prevented. 21-year-old Jessica Hurt died this past weekend in a Beaumont hospital after her family says 2 other hospitals refused to treat her. Jessica Holloway explains why the woman's medical insurance wasn't enough to save her life.
We had to have 2 gallons when she was here.
Debbie Chamber never liked it when her daughter Jessica drank straight out of the milk jug.
Because that just grossed me out.
But these days, she'd give anything to have it back.
She struggled for her life for 3 weeks before she just couldn't do it anymore.
Her daughter, 21-year-old Jessica Hurt, was alive 2 days ago, but now family and friends are printing photographs for her funeral.
That's my baby. I love her eyes. But that's Jessica.
Chambers says her daughter had gallstones and medical insurance, and she says both would end up killing her.
She went to the hospital, and they told her to come back when she had 5 grand. Yeah, they put a gun to my baby's head.
Jessica couldn't get treatment because she couldn't afford the $5,000 deductible. She developed pancreatitis, and her mother says neither Christus St. Mary nor the Medical Center of Southeast Texas would admit Jessica for day surgery, even if she paid them in installments.
If they'd have done that surgery months ago, before all this infection set up, she'd been there borrowing my makeup, drinking out of my milk jug. I love my job. I love what I do.
Chamber is a journalist with the Orange Leader. She never thought she'd be writing publicly about the loss of her daughter. Jessica had insurance, but she was underinsured. Although Chamber is angry, she's channeling that anger to help send a message to others. The message encapsulated in a column she wrote. Love your children every day.
I mean, my last few moments were telling my daughter I loved her. And 3 minutes later, she was gone. No pulse.
That was Jessica Holloway reporting. When it comes to high blood pressure, keeping high blood pressure under control, small steps can produce big results. A new study found boosting a patient's awareness about his or her condition can help them lower their blood pressure without expensive interventions. The measures can be as simple as carrying a blood pressure wallet card to track clinic visits and documenting blood pressure. We all know breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but that's especially true if you're trying to lose weight. Researchers say skipping breakfast actually tricks your brain into thinking you want higher calorie foods. That includes foods that can make you fat or at least increase your risk of weight gain. Coming up, Melissa Sturdivant is here, and we're talking about how to add some decoration to your yard. Stay with us.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Hendrick Health System. With coverage you can count on, KTAB News at 5 continues.
Victor Sotelo will have more tonight at 6 on whether your identity is actually protected when you post a comment to an online news story. Speed spotter Manny Diaz checks out a neighborhood near a busy intersection. What should the speed be there? And David checks out District 2-3A, which has several of the best high school football teams in the state, and they're all right here in the Big Country. These stories coming up in about 38 minutes at 6 o'clock. Now for more at 5, back to Catherine in the studio.
All right, thanks, Bob. As I said before, Melissa Sturdivant is here, and it looks like we're making pine cones out of some really great household items.
We have a lot of things here. Last week, I was fortunate to work with the Nickel staff, and we had a youth gardening camp, Earth Kind Tones in Nature, and so we made a lot of different things as far as bird feeders, and I was going to show you some things. We have, one of the things that we made was a pine cone bird feeder, far out feeders. There's lots of different ways, but I'm going to let you get your hands into this. But what you want to kind of, we've already pre-positioned the string on there, and the main thing when you're selecting the materials, obviously we're trying to use all natural materials, biodegradable materials, something that's earth friendly, and so we're using some jute rope here that will degrade over time and not be kind of a hazard in our environment. So we've kind of pre-positioned that, and then we're going to get into the peanut butter. And so the idea is that you want to coat all the crevices.
So just scoop it on?
Scoop it on, lather it on there really good, and what's going to happen.
Now, I'm not much of a cook, so I like doing things like this with food where you can't really make it ugly.
You want to play with your food.
Exactly, I love it.
It's therapy.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so we load on the peanut butter.
Really good and thick, and then we dip it into this really good composite birdseed mix, and And so, you know, bird seed is seed from flowers.
I just dip it?
Yeah, just dip it in there, get it all coated on there. And so what you have...
Oh, that's so great.
And so you hang this in the branch of your tree. And
would it just hang like that?
It'll hang just like this. And you'll have birds come up and they'll, you know, forage on the seed. They'll love the peanut butter. Chunky peanut butter is by far the best because they really love those.
That's their personal preference.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
And so you can see this one here. I have that one done. And so all kinds of different ways. The other thing that we did was we made a ground feeding device. And this was using a really good mortar concrete mix, but I made a form using a pie tin, cake tin, but the idea is that I wanted to shape it in the shape of a leaf, and this was going with a book that we were reading called The Leaf Men, and so kind of made the shape, and as you can see here, used a really good this product in that versus a regular Quikrete, the larger sacks, because there's a lot of aggregate material in there, so this one does not have the big chunky rocks in there and such. And so what we did, as you can see here, we ended up with that form, made a very nice leaf shape, did this, and you can see, and so that you place in your garden at ground level. You put the bird seed on here, and the birds will come up and they will forage and rest and perch and so forth.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Coming up, Dan will take a final look at our forecast. Stay with us.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Livingston Audiology and Hearing Aid Centers.
An OU student got the surprise of her life when she became the mother of a baby boy.
Yeah, she never expected the birth to grab media attention, but then again, she expected to give birth she didn't expect to give birth in the first place. Reporter Jennifer Pierce tells us more about this very unexpected bundle of joy.
Daddy's gonna tickle you. I am just so thankful he's healthy and that we're both okay.
4 months ago, Elizabeth Hess and her boyfriend never thought they would become the parents of a happy, healthy baby boy. Elizabeth was living the typical college life at OU, sharing a dorm with Morgan Foreman.
We'd go to dinner together, we'd run to Target, or walk to class together. So, yeah, we spent a lot of time together.
You can come back over here.
Elizabeth carried the baby to birth without anyone, her boyfriend, family, friends, even herself, knowing she was pregnant.
I didn't go through a lot of what most people go through. I gained a little bit of weight. I thought it was pretty much like the freshman 15.
She was shocked when she thought bad menstrual cramps were actually contractions. It led to the surprise birth of a 7-pound baby in a dorm room bathroom.
She was shaking so bad and she was in such shock that I reached down and pulled him out of the toilet. And made sure he was still breathing. He wasn't screaming at first, and so that kind of made me nervous. And so I patted his back and loosened the umbilical cord off around his neck and made sure everything was okay. Then I ran and grabbed my cell phone.
The experience has left a lasting bond and memory.
I still look back on it today thinking that has to be a dream.
She is now Baby Lane's godmother, and Elizabeth is forever grateful for her friend's help.
I'm so glad Morgan was there. I honestly don't know what we would have done without her there.
A terrifying story.
That's pretty amazing. So it looks like the baby's in good health. And,
absolutely, all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. All right, let's take a quick look at our 3-day forecast. We're getting into that time of the year, folks, where temperatures are going to be in the 90s every day for the next couple of months. Low temperatures in the low to mid 70s, and we'll have some wind out there during the afternoon. But again, I want to make sure everybody checks on the pets and the elderly as we're going to continue this heat for the next several days.
Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you again tonight at 6. Good night.
Good night.